Unlike cases in which a subject engages in obstruction of justice to cover up a crime, the evidence we obtained did not establish that the president was involved in an underlying crime related to Russian election interference.
The evidence does not establish that the president sought to prevent disclosure of the emails in those official proceedings.
As described above, the evidence does not establish that the president asked or directed intelligence agency leaders to stop or interfere with the FBI's Russia investigation.
The investigation examined whether these contacts involved or resulted in coordination or conspiracy with the Trump campaign in Russia, including with respect to Russia providing assistance to the campaign in exchange for any sort of favorable treatment in the future. Based on the available information, the investigation did not establish such coordination. The investigation did not establish that Smith was in contact with Russian hackers or that Smith, leading, or any other individuals in touch with the Trump campaign ultimately obtained the deleted emails.
The investigation did not establish that Page coordinated with the Russian government in its efforts to interfere with the 2016 presidential campaign.
The investigation did not establish that these efforts reflected or constituted coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia in its election interference activities.
The investigation did not identify evidence that any U.S. persons knowingly or intentionally coordinated with the IRA's interference operation.
While certain campaign volunteers agreed to provide the requested support, for example, agreeing to set aside a number of signs, the investigation has not identified evidence that any Trump campaign official understood the requests were coming from foreign nationals.
The investigation did not find evidence that the Trump campaign recovered any such Clinton emails or that these contacts were part of a coordinated effort between Russia and the Trump campaign.
Redacted, redacted. Redacted, 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 redacted.
While the investigation identified numerous links between individuals with ties to the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign, the evidence was not sufficient to support criminal charges. Among other things, the evidence was not sufficient to charge any campaign official as an unregistered agent of the Russian government or other Russian principal. And our evidence about the June 9, 2016 meeting and the WikiLeaks releases of hacked materials was not sufficient to charge a criminal campaign finance violation. Further, the evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities.